I mean, to be fair, out of anybody, we've had Tim and Daniel come on for Tech Tuesday, and they've never prepared as much as you have. So not to freak you out or like set really big expectations, but that is the reality.
All right. Well,
You ready to jump right into this?
let's do it.
Awesome. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Tech Tuesday. My name is Ben, and I am being joined by
TJ.
TJ is one of our technicians here at Aces EFI. Super excited to get into this. As this is Tech Tuesday, it doesn't necessarily just have to be Tim coming on here every single week, so it's super awesome to have you a part of this with us, TJ, and we can go ahead and jump right into the questions. I'm just really excited. I'm just really pumped for this. So, yeah. What we usually say on Tech Tuesday is that we do this for the people. So at some point during the video, we just say for the people.
For the people.
Yeah. Immortal Motors, is that what it is? 562?
Immortal Motors, yes.
All right. I'll take it away.
Has Aces considered doing a single barrel redo kit? I have a buddy with a couple of Samurais, and he would like to try EFI, and the only single barrel available is by company H, and if I recall, it is meant for a Ford Mustang and only uses a rod for the throttle, whereas the Samurai uses a cable.
Yeah.
As far as a single barrel kit, not that I am aware of.
Yeah, I don't think that we're doing any kind of single barrel kit in the near future.
No.
Yeah.
Supply and demand, though.
Yeah. If that's something that you feel very confident in or something that we should pursue. One thing I love about Aces, and we talk about it all the time, is that you can we listen to customer feedback, but our senior management listens to what the needs of the industry are and what the demands are for systems. So if something like a single barrel turns out to be something that a lot of people are really needing, then that may be something that we get into.
Absolutely.
But as of right now, the only things that I know about, which I'm not going to pull a Tim. Tim will come on here and just say stuff like what's coming out, and maybe he's given you some
things
not to talk about.
I don't have a list of things not to talk about. I mean,
good.
Maybe.
Good. So he's like what we say the Tom Holland of the Aces Tech Tuesdays, because he'll just say stuff or put stuff out there. Most notably the intake assembly video.
Right. I mean, right, well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he did tell me not to talk about any of the new LS valve covers or our air cleaners.
Oh, my God.
Or he definitely said not to mention anything about the fuel level sensor input system. But, yeah. So we can go to the next question if you want. That's what.
Anyway,
maybe not.
Immortal Motors 562, just to reiterate, most likely not in the future. Not that I've heard discussions about as far as a single barrel, but if that is something that you would like to see us pursue, and if there are a lot of you that are thinking that's something we should pursue, send customer service an email. We will gladly send that up to senior management, and
Absolutely.
if it does become something of a priority, then that will happen. So STE49, I think is what that says. He says, what is the best fix for a lean condition stumble when aggressive throttle is applied? At both idle and low speed driving, when I step on the throttle, the AFR will go around 17 to 18. The engine will cut out completely for about half a second and then catches itself. Normal driving and steady application of the throttle doesn't have this issue, just going from 0 to around 40 to 60 quickly. Thanks. I have a thought on it, but I'm not a tech, so I'll let you go for it.
Well, a lot of that depends on a lot of different types of things, but
Sure.
the biggest thing is your cam type. Depends on if you have mild cam, race cam. But let's just say, for example, we're running with a real mild cam. Best thing that you could do would be to go into your tuning and then go to software and advanced and look at your acceleration correction versus TPS. Even just as much as 15 to 20% drop on that, or 20-point drop on that, could make a big difference. But that also depends on where your fuel tables are at.
Yeah.
If you're a little lean on your main fuel table, you may need to add a little bit of fuel into the main fuel table before that correction makes any type of a difference, but a lot of that depends.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. The only thing I would say about it is, when you get into something, I don't know how long he's had the system, but when it comes to the self-learning software, once you key on for the first time, when you start it up for the first time, it'll find an idle, and then it will go into closed loop after it's warmed up to temperature. But a lot of times what people will do is they'll go out for their first drive and just give it the beans, as they say. And which, with the self-learning software, you don't want to do if it's strictly in its closed loop learning mode, just right out the gate, because it doesn't know what to do. It's best to, as he was talking about here, give it, what does he say? Normal driving and steady application of the throttle doesn't have this issue. And the reason for that, my guess, would be that it's still, learning and it's fine. So if you have an open loop tune and you give it, 0 to 40, 60% throttle very quickly, you probably won't run into as many, if any, running conditions if it, as opposed to if it was a brand new system. So I have seen that a couple times, actually.
Yep, that is absolutely true. But like I was saying, a lot of that also depends on your fuel table.
Yeah.
Because if your fuel table's perfect for idle and cruising conditions, but is a little bit lean on tip-in for full throttle acceleration,
right?
To go past somebody on the highway, then you're still going to have that issue. So at that point, you need to kind of look at your VE tables and see where your fuel's at, see where you're running lean, and maybe add a little bit of fuel in that lean spot to kind of help compensate.
Yeah. NSM Turbo 5902 says, can you make a video on acceleration enrichment? Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, I can do that.
List of future videos.
Is it really?
That is something that we are working on. We have a list going right now of some of the most important and most common questions or issues people have been running across on installs.
Yeah.
And getting a little bit more finer tuning capabilities for some of these folks is definitely on the list. Yeah.
Well, then, absolutely. That's on the docket. Being the marketing guy, I probably should know when the next videos are. But what I do know is there are all kinds of I know Tech has their own list for videos. I know I got a new list for videos recently. And some of them overlap and some of them don't. So I kind of just go where I'm told as far as some of those are concerned. Outside of like a Tech Tuesday. Right. That's pretty common. That's going to be what it is. So there's that. Max, is that what it's saying?
XP8 Baller.
Nice.
Says, having an issue with a small black Chevy 350 kill shot running very rich, black soot coming out of the tailpipes.
Wow.
Customer service is sending new O2 sensors. Was that the correct steps to fix the issue? Well, there's another question that depends on a lot of different things.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on there.
Biggest thing is where were your O2 sensors placed? Tim made a great video last week about O2 sensor placement, which is extremely important when it comes to our kits running at optimal configuration. Yep. So that is a very important thing.
Yep.
If the O2 sensors were inside the headers, definitely not the right place for them. Would have caused them to burn out. Could definitely cause rich running. Most definitely would cause soot. But it could also be tuning. Could be timing. But
correct, yeah.
With every issue we come across, there has to be a starting point. So, for a customer service standpoint, that is a good starting point.
Yeah. A lot of times in those situations, with a running rich situation with black smoke or whatever coming out the tailpipes, a lot of times that is an O2 sensor related issue. But like you said, there are many ways that could go in different directions. It's very possible. So as to saying right now, if that fixes the problem just out the gate, there's no way to guarantee that.
No.
I don't think anybody could just straight up the gate over the phone
There's no way to guarantee that that's the fix, but the important thing is when you get your new O2 sensors to do your key off clear learn data, so you're not trying to rerun previous bad sensor data, because that will continue to screw you up. You may burn up a whole other set of O2 sensors, and then you're going to be calling wondering why.
Yeah, so exactly. I completely agree with that. I would check out O2 sensor placement, and maybe you're totally fine. Maybe it was a bad O2 sensor, and it just so happened to be a bad O2 sensor.
That happens.
But if it's not, like TJ was saying, check where the O2 sensor is placed, but also reset the learn data inside the system. If you don't know how to do that, call customer service or email them. They'd be happy to get back to you on that and explain how that works. And I know we've explained it on other Tech Tuesdays, so you can go back and see that as well. But basically, you'll want to do that. Otherwise, it will relearn on top of itself.
Absolutely.
That is not the ideal situation there. So like we've done in previous episodes, I'm going to go over here real quick to ACES EFI owners and techs. You can apply to join the group on Facebook. It's a great place to get your questions answered quickly, as well as just a place to monitor what's going on in the community. But I'm going to go ahead and read from Daniel Meyer. He's got a question. I have a question concerning the connection problems with the CAN bus. Connecting with my laptop. I'm getting 2 blue lights and a flashing red light. Any ideas on what that could be? I have the Jackpot EFI. Also, I was having issues with the 5-inch handheld on the screen going crazy, pressing buttons on its own. I'd have to kill the power to reset it, etc., etc. I've talked with some of the customer service and waiting on them to get back with me hopefully today. So I'd assume he's waiting for a tech call, which might be you later on today. So that's pretty neat. But let's just go ahead. There's a lot going on here. Connection problems with the CAN bus can be related to how much voltage you have going to the system. Sometimes you can have some people will hook up different things to a battery. They might use a solenoid. They might not go directly to the battery. Or maybe the battery's putting out way more than just 12 volts of signal. So then you can have connection problems there. Maybe by chance there's a software version that's low or something like that, and that you could have problems there. But there are a bunch of different ways you could approach this that you may be having issues with that you can go ahead and check.
I can definitely look into this a little bit better. A little odd that he's having 2 blue lights and a flashing red light.
Yeah.
Normally it should be 2 red lights and 1 blue light, and then 1 flashing blue when it's actually running.
Right.
So we need to dive into that a little bit.
Yeah,
better.
Probably
Exactly
a firmware. I would guess that would be my first thing, something like that.
Dan Stoneburner says, "What TPS sensor do they use in the sheet metal low profile intake with the 102 millimeter throttle body? I think I may have broken mine." Well, if I'm not mistaken, that's going to be a GM TPS sensors, the one we use on pretty much every one of our kits.
Yeah, one of the cool things about our systems is that most of the sensors, plugins, everything that we use tries to stay in the realm of GM. It's pretty standard, which is super helpful for if you have a system for a very long time and it's no longer in warranty and something needs to be replaced. You can head down to your local auto parts store or something like that and get a replacement. But depending on when you got it, Dan, you may want to give us a call at 423-590-2237, I believe is the customer service number, and you can also see if they will fix that for you under warranty. Even if you broke it, a lot of times they will show grace.
Richard Trefts says that for racing applications, I have some questions. Do you have to leave the master switch on? Self-learning, not being a street-legal vehicle, driving and idling around the neighborhood doesn't seem like it would help at the track. Is there tech help for setting up the tables? Do you turn off self-learning until making a pass? And then for fan controls, can you use fan number 1 for a water pump and fan number 2 for a fan operation?
That's a really good question.
So there's a lot of things going on with this one. Yeah. For a racing application, our systems are what we are calling self-tuning. if you're going to be bolting our system onto a vehicle and going straight to the drag strip, it would be best if you knew exactly what you were doing with the tuning. Obviously, you're not going to be able to bolt a system onto a vehicle, drive it around the neighborhood to get a good driving parameter set for a good base tune, and then go hit the drag strip. So your best bet for self-learning would be to go to the drag strip with it and sit there and tune until you have it running optimal, and then shut off your learn and fuel loop.
Yep.
Once that car is running at its optimal tune and it's exactly how you want it, that's when it's time to shut off the self-learn.
Yeah.
Because every time after that you go down the track, if you have an issue, it's going to learn that issue and then try to adjust to it. So you're never going to get the same tune going down the track. So honestly, your best bet for that would be to take it to, if you aren't able to do the tuning yourself, take it to a tuner, have them set your car exactly how you want it to go down the strip, then do some test hits, see what it's doing, and go from there. As far as self-learning on, to take it to the track, that's kind of a hard thing to do.
Yep.
For fan controls, you could absolutely use fan number 1 for a water pump, but you're going to have to go into your handheld and set the parameters for the fan 1 so that your water pump isn't only turning on at a certain temperature, because that is, meant to go for a fan, so it has specific things that it's supposed to do. But could you do it? Yes. You just got to make sure that you're changing the supporting options so that you can make that work, and it's not going to cook your motor the first time you go down the strip. So yeah, it's possible, but is there going to be a specific tech help for setting up that drag racing table? No.
Yeah.
There will not be. But with our list of tuners that we have hopefully coming up here soon, we may be able to send you to somebody who could help with that.
Yep.
But us specifically, no.
TJ, you knocked it out of the park on the Tech Tuesday thing. You just jumped right in. Where's Tim right now?
He is on his way back from Kentucky right now.
So he's being
lazy.
lazy.
He takes a little bit of time off work that somebody's seen him in Kentucky and said, "What happened?" Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So he definitely needed that day off today.
Well, hey, everyone. Thanks again so much for watching this episode of Tech Tuesday. If you liked it, please leave a like down below. If you have any questions about ACES or EFI in general, please leave a comment down below for next Tech Tuesdays. If you see Tech Tuesday Media anywhere else on social media, feel free to go and show us some love. But until then, we'll be just hanging out here, working at ACES, and we'll see all of you guys in the next one. Bye now.
See ya.